crazy leaps and like shooting Chris Rock's like ankle in a crowded children's park, which is like a crazy moment, and like the blood spurting and cutting to money falling everywhere, which by the way scored to himself rapping over it, which I was like, yeah, fucking Isaac Hayes mode, man. Straight up, that's straight up Chuck sick. Turner shit, where because I think he's doing the new Jack Hustler song over that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's just such a power move to have your own voice going on as you're chasing somebody down. It's very, very awesome. And I gotta say, Chris Rock in this is really good. Like
he is.
Most of the time I've seen him in this era was when he was just doing like his like playing himself in his comedy movies kind of thing, probably using some of his stand-up jokes to apply to scripts and stuff. And this one, he's straight up playing like a character and a crack addicted character. And there are moments eventually too where this is where I thought the kind of the crack addiction stuff and his campy style really did work well, was when it's showing like Chris go through the withdrawals the second time, and they're almost doing these like train spotting surreal sequences where like all the lighting is really exaggerated and the room is like shaking as
he does that like dolly zoom on him, like hitting the pipe again.
Yeah, and like they do these things where you have the pipe in focus in the foreground, and then it like goes to Rock, who's watching it intently, like trying not to smoke it and everything. It is cool how sometimes that I think explains well maybe the paranoia that the drug would bring, and the withdrawal and the pain that would bring. So there are still some moments where that style really does do it justice instead of maybe undercutting it here and there. But yeah, Chris Rock is fantastic in the movie, I thought.
Yeah, he gets this great scene, and Ice-T, we've already been talking about Ice-T, but yeah, this is like for both of them, these are pretty big breaks in their careers. And honestly, even though Wesley Snipes gets to kind of upstage everyone just based on the character he was given, I think those two guys, almost go just as hard. I love some of the lines that they get, the outfits that they get put in. They're pretty wild, and they do have kind of great chemistry together in their sequences as well. And I was looking at an interview with the author where I think one of the interviewers brought up that it's kind of crazy that this seemed like this movie maybe paved the way for Law and Order, SVU, as we were mentioning. But the writer, Cooper, he did mention that what he loved so much about Ice-T and what Ice-T found in the writing that he tried to instill in that character when on the page, and which did kind of make Ice-T iconic, was that he located the gangster character in the cop. The sort of like ugly street side of a character like that, like when he's delivering his Miranda rights, and he's like, anything you can and will, or anything you say can and will be used against you in a motherfucking court of law, bitch. Looking like he's about to like execute Chris Rock in public in front of children and shit like that.
Which does become one of his like major kind of issues that he's dealing with as a character, where we'll get to the reveal, of course, but he has a specific connection with Nino, and kind of has like a vengeance that he wants to enact. And so in that sense, it's complicated because he of course has to try to go within the law, but he wants to just pop this guy. There's literal lines that he's just like, I'm going to kill Nino Brown kind of thing. Like,
he gets my favorite line in the entire movie, which is, I want to shoot you so bad my dick's hard.
Yes.
Which is very much the motivation of the Ice-T character. You don't get it until later, but it kind of clarifies the whole movie for you. And Ice-T plays that so well that he's just like,
he plays it with a hard dick for sure.
He's raging the whole time. He's horned up. He's gonna get his murder on.
Yep. He's gonna bust off.
But him and Nino get put on the sort of same path when Nino is introducing his master plan, because he sees himself as like the Joe Kennedy of drug runners, the Prohibition era gangster of sort of like crack. And he gets that great line too. It's like, you got to rob to get rich in the Reagan era.
Yeah.
And as horrified as he might be, sort of like by the sort of disenfranchisement all around him in the neighborhood due to the wealth inequality and the policing and the politics and all this, it also means that people want to get high, and they want to get high fast. And he's about to do it by getting them all hooked on crack cocaine, and he's going to spread that shit like wildfire, as he says. So this is where that greed comes in, where he's looking at like a very real problem that's hurting his neighbors, his friends, his family. And he's like, how can I make that shit like worse and get paid by doing that, which he does in this sort of like high-tech production method and sort of marketing strategy he's invented in order to sort of like own the city. And he gets his childhood friend G Money, his girlfriend Selena, her techie banker cousin Kareem, and they were like, we are going to get off the street corners and we're going to take over this rundown housing complex called the Carter. We're going to consolidate it into like this giant drug lab, factory, bank, compound, fortress, store, like all in one, with a high-tech security system and computer system. And he was like, yeah, if the current tenants agree, great, they're our first loyal customers. If not, they become live-in hostages like in Beirut, and he just goes off. He starts killing other dealers in the streets. He's like marching a dude in the street like naked at shotgun point. He's just executing people in
and this is
broad daylight.
There's no discretion rather. There's no discretion here at all. Like he's doing it in broad daylight. They even have a line which is very funny where the guy's like, and in broad daylight, ha 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 ha.
He's like that's how it's done, which is after they